The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as Marcus Taylor sorted through student files in his office. 20 years as Westridge High's guidance counselor had earned him respect from students and faculty alike. The walls displayed his credentials: master's degree in psychology, Counselor of the Year award 3 times running, and photos with students who'd gone on to prestigious universities. A sharp knock interrupted his concentration. "Come in," Marcus called, expecting a student seeking college application advice. Instead, Principal Donovan entered with 2 stern-faced police officers behind him. The principal's face was ashen. "Marcus, these officers need to speak with you." "Mr. Taylor?" The taller officer stepped forward. "I'm Officer Bryant, this is Officer Chen. We need you to come with us." Marcus's brow furrowed. "What's this about?" "Sir, you're under arrest for the kidnapping of Sophia Bennett." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. "What? Who?" "I don't understand. You have the right to remain silent," Officer Bryant continued, pulling handcuffs from his belt. "Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law." Marcus stood frozen as the cold metal clasped around his wrists. The file he'd been holding scattered across the floor. Through the window of his office door, he could see students gathering in the hallway, whispering and pointing. "There must be some mistake," Marcus said, his voice steady despite the panic rising in his chest. "No mistake, sir," Officer Chen replied coldly. "Let's go. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." As they led him through the school's main corridor, Marcus felt every stare like a dagger. The school secretary covered her mouth in shock. Coach Phillips, who'd shared lunch with Marcus for 15 years, turned away. In 20 seconds, a lifetime of trust had evaporated, the holding cell reeked of bleach and despair. Marcus sat on a metal bench, still in disbelief as Detective Warren slid crime scene photos across the table. 16-year-old Sophia Bennett smiled from a school portrait, blonde hair, blue eyes, the police chief's niece. "We have an eyewitness who saw you forcing her into a black sedan yesterday after school," Detective Warren said, leaning forward. "Her backpack was found near your parking spot." "That's impossible," Marcus replied, his voice firm despite his trembling hands. "I was in a staff meeting until 5, then went straight home to my wife." "Convenient," Detective Warren scoffed. "No one remembers seeing you after 4:30. The local news broadcast Marcus's mugshot by nightfall. "Respected counselor accused in shocking kidnapping," the headline blared. They mentioned his race 3 times in the 2-minute segment. By morning, spray paint defaced his home, "Child Snatcher," in angry red letters. His wife, Leah, sobbed as she scrubbed it away, neighbors watching from their porches without offering help. The Taylors kept to themselves, Mrs. Winters told reporters, though Marcus had brought her soup when she was sick last winter. There was always something off about him. The Westridge Community Forum exploded with comments, "Always knew there was something wrong with him. They let him near our children for 20 years. Lock him up and throw away the key." At the bail hearing, the courtroom packed with angry faces. The judge, Sophia's godfather, denied bail, citing community safety concerns. Marcus's court-appointed attorney whispered, "Don't worry, truth comes out eventually." But as they led him back to his cell, Marcus saw the guards' disgusted glances. The truth seemed suddenly very far away. Detective James Rodriguez tapped his pen against the case file. New to Westridge Police Department, he'd been assigned as secondary investigator on the Bennett kidnapping. Something wasn't adding up. "So we're saying this counselor with 0 priors suddenly kidnaps the police chief's niece?" Rodriguez asked his partner. "Based on one witness statement from Ryan Caldwell, Sophia's boyfriend," Detective Warren replied without looking up from his phone. "Open and shut." Rodriguez frowned. "Did we check Taylor's alibi? The staff meeting?" "Warren handled the interviews," Lieutenant Parker said, passing by. "Focus on finding the girl, not poking holes in solid police work." That night, Rodriguez reviewed the file at home. The witness statement seemed rehearsed. The backpack placement too convenient. He pulled up Taylor's personnel file. 20 years of exemplary service. Community volunteer. Family man. The next morning, Rodriguez visited Westridge High, flashing his badge to the secretary. "I need the attendance log for Tuesday's staff meeting, and access to your security cameras." The footage showed Marcus in the meeting until 4:52. The supposed abduction occurred at 4:45. "This doesn't make sense," Rodriguez muttered. He called the lab. "Rush the fingerprint analysis on the Bennett girl's backpack." "Already done," the technician replied. "Only her prints and someone named Ryan Caldwell." Rodriguez's eyes narrowed. "The boyfriend? The witness?" "Yes, sir. And there's something else. The security camera outside the east parking lot was disabled at 4:30. Manually." Rodriguez grabbed his keys. It was time to have another chat with Ryan Caldwell. Marcus Taylor grew up in East Westridge, raised by a single mother who worked 3 jobs. He earned a scholarship to State University, becoming the first in his family to graduate college. His mother passed away during his senior year, but not before seeing him accept his diploma. In prison, Marcus thought about her often. "Hold your head high," she'd always said. "Your character speaks louder than their prejudice." He'd chosen counseling after a guidance counselor had changed his own life. For 20 years, Marcus had returned that favor, helping hundreds of students find their paths. Last year, he'd talked down Zach Phillips, a student threatening suicide. 2 months ago, he'd helped Danny Martinez secure a full scholarship. Just last week, he'd organized a food drive for families struggling after the factory closure. In his cell, Marcus received letters from former students who believed in him. He read them repeatedly, tracing the words with his finger. "I know who I am," Marcus whispered to himself each night. "They can take my freedom temporarily, but not my dignity. Not the truth." Television vans clogged Westridge's Main Street. Reporters thrust microphones at anyone willing to speak. "Missing Girl, Day 3, flashed across screens nationwide. Cable news commentators debated Marcus's guilt without mentioning alleged. One channel displayed his photo beside previous convicted kidnappers, all black men. Yet cracks appeared in the unified outrage. Students organized outside the courthouse with signs reading, "MRT believed in U.S." and "Innocent until proven." "Marcus Taylor saved my son's life," Mrs. Ramirez told a reporter while clutching a photo. "He deserves fair treatment." The police chief held press conferences demanding justice for his niece. Behind him stood Ryan Caldwell, Sophia's boyfriend, eyes downcast. Online, hashtags battled, #Justice for Sophia versus #Free Marcus Taylor. At church, Pastor Reynolds called for patience. "Truth needs no defense," he said. "It only needs light." While some neighbors continued delivering casseroles to the Bennett family, others quietly left groceries on Leah Taylor's porch, slipping away before anyone could see their small acts of solidarity. Westridge had become 2 towns, one certain of guilt, another praying for justice, both waiting for Sophia to be found. Detective Rodriguez hunched over his laptop, coffee cups littering his desk. After 3 sleepless nights, he'd compiled a timeline that contradicted Ryan Caldwell's statement. "Got something," called technician Santos from the doorway. "Corner store across from the school. Owner just called. Says he has footage from that day but was afraid to come forward." 20 minutes later, Rodriguez watched grainy footage of the school's east parking lot. Time stamp, 4:40 p.m. "There," Santos pointed. Ryan Caldwell appeared, looking nervous. Sophia followed shortly after, gesturing angrily. No audio, but their body language showed an argument. Ryan grabbed her arm. She pulled away, slapping him. Then Ryan shoved Sophia into his car, the black sedan witnesses had described. Timestamp matches when Sophia's phone went offline, Rodriguez muttered. Pull Caldwell's cell records again. The records showed Ryan's phone traveling to his family's cabin in Pine Grove, 50 miles north. The phone stayed there overnight, then returned to Westridge, exactly when Ryan claimed to be searching for Sophia. Rodriguez grabbed his jacket. Get a warrant for the Caldwell cabin. And bring Taylor's file. I'm heading to the DA's office. The district attorney reviewed the evidence, his face grim. Jesus. We nearly railroaded an innocent man. We still might, Rodriguez said, checking his watch. The grand jury votes in 2 hours. I'll call the judge, the DA said, reaching for his phone. You get a team to that cabin. Now. SWAT surrounded the Caldwell family cabin as dawn broke over Pine Grove. Detective Rodriguez approached with his weapon drawn. Ryan Caldwell. Police. Come out with your hands up. Silence. After breaching the door, they found Ryan unconscious on the floor, empty pill bottle beside him. And in the back bedroom, Sophia Bennett sat huddled in a corner, bruised but alive. He was going to kill us both, she whispered as paramedics wrapped her in a blanket. Said if he couldn't have me, no one would. At the hospital, Sophia's statement revealed everything. She'd wanted to break up. Ryan couldn't accept it. He said he'd blame Mr. Taylor, she explained, tears streaming down her face. Said no one would question it if a black man was accused. Said his uncle, the police chief, would make sure of it. Rodriguez recorded every word, stomach churning. Ryan planted my backpack. Disabled the camera. He told me. Her voice broke, he told me they'd believe him because people see what they expect to see. Chief Bennett entered the hospital room, face ashen upon hearing the recording. My own niece, he whispered. And I. You did exactly what Ryan predicted, Rodriguez said coldly. You saw what you expected to see. The chief's phone rang. Ryan had survived his suicide attempt. He'll face charges for kidnapping, assault, filing false reports, Rodriguez said, gathering his notes. And Mr. Taylor walks free today. Marcus stood outside the prison gates, squinting in the sunlight. After 2 weeks in darkness, even the cloudy day seemed blinding. Leah rushed forward, enveloping him in a tearful embrace. It's over, she whispered. You're free. Detective Rodriguez waited by his unmarked car. Mr. Taylor, he said, extending his hand. I owe you an apology. You found the truth, Marcus replied, shaking his hand firmly. That's what matters. At the police station, Chief Bennett waited, eyes downcast. The same room where Marcus had been interrogated now held a different tension. Marcus, the chief began. You were ready to throw away my life, Marcus interrupted, voice steady. Not because of evidence, but because it was easier to believe I was guilty. Yes, Bennett admitted. And I'll carry that shame forever. What happens now? Leah asked. Ryan Caldwell confessed to everything, Rodriguez explained. And there will be an independent investigation into the department's handling of the case. As they left, reporters swarmed. This time, microphones pointed at Marcus, not at those condemning him. Mr. Taylor, how do you feel about your exoneration? Marcus faced the cameras, standing tall. Justice was delayed, but not denied. I hold no hatred in my heart, only hope that we learn from this. That we question our assumptions. That we remember every person deserves the presumption of innocence, regardless of their skin color. The crowd fell silent as his words hung in the air. Now, if you'll excuse me, Marcus said, taking Leah's hand, I'd like to go home. 3 months later, Westridge High held an assembly. Students filled the auditorium as Principal Donovan approached the microphone. Today, we welcome back Mr. Marcus Taylor, he announced. The applause was deafening. Students stood, cheering as Marcus walked onto the stage. Across town, Ryan Caldwell received a 12-year sentence. Chief Bennett had resigned, replaced by a reform-minded successor who appointed Rodriguez as head of a new oversight committee. The spray paint on Marcus's house had been covered with a colorful mural, students' handprints forming a tree, each leaf bearing a message of support. "This experience taught me something," Marcus told the assembly. "Justice isn't automatic. It requires courage." From Detective Rodriguez, who questioned a convenient narrative. From students who stood by me when adults wouldn't. From a community willing to confront its mistakes. In the front row, Sophia Bennett listened, eyes wet with tears of remorse and gratitude. "We can't erase prejudice overnight," Marcus continued. "But we can choose, each day, to see people as individuals, not as categories or assumptions or fears. That's how we build a just world. One truth, one stand, one heart at a time." As Marcus finished speaking, the entire room rose once more, their applause a promise to do better.